Well, about this time of year, the term summer slowdown always raises its ugly head, and people ask, what do we do about the summer slowdown? Summer slowdown, according to a lot of resellers, occurs when sales slow down during the summer. Now, why does that happen? Well, this picture tells us one, families are going on vacation, kids are out of school, they're going to camp. Everyone's running around with everyone. People aren't indoors as much as they are in the wintertime. And even though more people buy with their cell phone than their computer these days, sales will still drop on almost every platform because of summer busyness people just have. Our economy hasn't been good the last 3 or 4 years, and it probably won't be fixed by summer. We're about a month and a half away from summer. I don't know when summer starts, but this is mid-May, and so we're like a month away, I guess, from summer, something like that. And people would see towards the end of May, they'll start seeing the summer slowdown right now in many cases. I personally have never seen it, but there's a reason for that. I generally am trying to get everything listed that I still have from the winter. And the reason I do that is over the summer months, there are lots of sales. This is the time of the year when everyone in America, no matter where you live, and other countries have a similar time of the year. Now, if you're in New Zealand, it's probably the opposite half of the year. But during the warmer months, that's when the garage sales, the yard sales are. That's when they flourish. That's where you pick up the cheapest items possible in many cases. So I'm furiously trying to make room on my shelves to start bringing in a lot of things this summer, because summer's when I source the most. And if I never sourced any other time of the year, I would have plenty to source. I go into the fall months with tons of inventory. A lot of them is in my mountain of a death pile, which is really better called profit pile, although it's not going to make any profit on that pile. So far, having a large death pile or profit pile has never caused anyone to come along and knock on my front door and say, I want to buy some of that stuff in your death pile. No one ever does that. People seem to only buy my stuff whenever I get it listed. I bet you've run across the same thing. So going into the colder months, I have a huge bunch of things that I bought dirt cheap over the spring, late spring and summer sales. That's my goal. Really stock up and source in the summer. List it all in the winter, because there aren't as many sales. I know in Arizona, there are probably garage sales, yard sales all year around. But for most of us, there are seasons. Arizona, you've got hot and hotter. Those are your two seasons, I guess. But for most people, the summer slowdown is a real thing because people are out vacationing and everything else. They're outdoors, they're going to swimming pools, they're doing all the things they do, playing volleyball, whatever. Not as many people are in a buying mode over the summer. They're in and enjoying the outdoor mode. So it's a real thing that fewer people overall buy in the summer. So what do you do about that? How do you stop it? I, for one, have never experienced it, but there's a reason for that. And I'm going to tell you how you can avoid it, but you may or may not be able to do what I do. I really ramp up the inventory going into summer because of what I just said. I still have a lot of unlisted items from what I bought last summer. I want to get those things off the unlisted shelves to make room for everything I'm going to buy this summer. So I'm furiously listing more and more items all the time, more than I have time to list every day. And the more you list, the more you sell. That's always the case with eBay. Remember, no one knocks on your front door to buy those unlisted items. So my inventory for sale greatly increases going into summer. I've got a lot more things listed on eBay than I had over the winter months. And just the sheer larger number of items that you have listed means you're going to have more sales. So if you can do that, if going into the summer months, you can greatly ramp up the number of items you list, you will not feel the summer slowdown. You will have a lot of sales because you have a lot more items in general in your selling inventory. But let's say you don't have time. You're listing all that you can. You work full time. You want to make this a business, but it's really just I list 5 items a day. That's the best I can do. Ship about 5 items a day. I don't have time. I've got a family. This isn't your primary business. And you don't want those 5 items a day to go down to 1 or 2 in the summer. So what do? I'll tell you what you do. If you can't list more, then use the summer slowdown productively. Those hours that you normally be wrapping and shipping during the weeks of summer when you only have 1 package every other day instead of 5 packages every day, a lot of times you'll get 2 or 3 some days in the summer, but it's just hard to get 5 every day for even a week straight. Whereas other times of the year, it's not that hard for you because you list about 5 items a day. What do? You use that time wisely. Most people who have a business, and even if it's part-time, this is a business. Most people don't have time to work on their business because they're too busy working in their business. During the summer months, if you're selling and selling and selling, you're shipping all that you can ship, you're listing all that you just can't do anymore. Well, you certainly don't have time to work on your business. You don't have time to do an inventory count to make sure that you don't have any duplicates listed. You certainly don't have time to straighten up your inventory shelves, to consolidate your inventory, to make room for all of the new items that you're going to get this summer. You don't have time to buy a new shelf, and build it and set up a new set of plastic shelves so that you have more room to either put the listed items that you're going to list or unlisted, whatever you're behind on. Now's the time to do an inventory of all the boxes and say, what do we need? What sizes are we really getting low on? Now's the time to look at your tape, your packing material, your bubble mailers, your poly mailers. You have time now to work on your business. Have you got an accountant yet? I told you how easy this business is when you get an accountant. Summer Slowdown would be a great time to find an accountant and stop doing all that busy work that you do now, keeping track of everything, keeping a worksheet. I don't keep track of anything except consignment clients because I have to pay them when their items sell. That's all. I don't track how much I paid for something. I don't track how much something is. I don't track how much money I'm making. My accountant does everything. All I do is charge items when I can at thrift stores or sales that will take Venmo or take a credit card. My accountant just gets all my expenses from that. Before the summer sales start in earnest, I go and get a bunch of cash from my business bank account to have cash for garage sales and all of that. My accountant sees that cash withdrawal and knows that's going to go to inventory, so she applies that to, I guess, cost of goods sold. And then what happens when I buy 19 items at the next garage sale? Nothing. The money's already been recorded. The cost has already been recorded. Before the summer is over, I will have spent all that cash on goods. So this would be a great time to get an accountant. You have time to get an accountant now. You're not wrapping and shipping every day, or not nearly as much. Now's the time to get those new shelves. Now's the time to organize things. Now's the time to label stuff. Now's the time to finally do all the things on your business that you just don't have time for during normal selling season. Why do you do that in the summer? Well, one, you have more time. And two, guess what happens right after the summer slowdown? Sales really ramp up big time. Going into the fourth quarter, anyone who sells anything, that's our major time for sales. You'll have more sales between September, mid-September, and December 31st than you'll have any other time of the year. You'd better work on your business now because you're not going to have time when fourth quarter starts. Summer slowdown, be thankful for it. I know you don't have the income, but you can prepare to have more income this fourth quarter than you would otherwise have. You're going to have more time to list things that you're getting at garage sales. Maybe if you're like me, you like to get a mountain of stuff that you just can't possibly list so that you have things to list over the winter whenever there aren't as many sales. So this is the time I really ramp up my inventory, not just to make up for slower sales, but to make sure I have as many things as possible for sale before mid-September when fourth quarter really starts to hit hard. So I think summer slowdown, resellers look at it all wrongly. It's almost like a summer relief time. I can finally get stuff done I need to do. And once you do that, once you get your business in order, once you get an accountant if you don't have one, once you finally get all the shelves built that you bought 2 years ago at Home Depot and you haven't built them yet because you just don't have time, once you get everything organized, once you have time to list more items in the summer, your winter sales will be greater. You're going to have more sales this winter than you would have had you not done the summer slowdown working on your business. Working on your business is a way to make more money. You're organizing, you're doing everything you need to do to prepare for the Q4, the biggest selling season of the year. Here's the definition of a crying shame for resellers. Fourth quarter begins and you haven't increased the number of items that you generally have in your inventory. You just haven't listed as much. You just haven't got around to it. You have all of these hungry buyers that want things, and your account just doesn't have that many things that you could have had you taken advantage of the summer slowdown. You will make more money over the year's time if you use the summer slowdown to work on your business. I'm thankful for a summer slowdown. I really like it. I'm really glad that it is available. It helps me a lot. I need this month or two or three to buy more things at sales and to work on my business. And you do too.